Hello again everybody on YouTube, okay, and all my viewers, okay, I want to say thank you so much for joining me again. This is a special video, okay, wait for it, the introduction is a special video, it's a request, okay, I'm making this video as a request from Densley, okay, my good martial arts brother and friend online. Okay, me and Densley have been good friends for a long time now, and as I say, I think everybody in the world, you know, does need good friends and people who share the passion and interest in the same things, you know. So if you're a martial artist out there, you know what that means when you can like communicate with someone on that level who knows martial arts, be it whatever style, and knows, you know, the goodness that you can get from martial arts training. It's like any subject though, you know, people share different interests and passions, and that's what brings people together sometimes. So yeah, Densley is like me. Me and Densley both train a number of different martial arts. I know there are people out there in the world who focus primarily on one style of martial arts, or mostly. But the thing with me is myself is I practice a lot of different kinds of martial arts. But Densley, my brother, you know, Densley picked up on something, and that was very true, and that is, of course, that I usually talk about Kung Fu, yeah, Kung Fu or Kung Fu, Wushu, mainly the Chinese styles of martial arts, mainly. And I promote that a lot through my videos as well, as you know. You know, it's always about Wushu this, Kung Fu that, you know, and Kung Fu all the time. Some of you may know that I have practiced other martial arts. When I was young, my first martial art I ever learned was karate. I learned for a few years of karate. I'm not too sure which style it was. That was when I was 12. Then later on I did kickboxing. I did some heavy duty training in kickboxing. To me it was heavy duty because I'm the late shit, was it? I'm not the toughest guy, but I mean that training was real hardcore. And then later though, I moved on to the Kung Fu systems. Other things like online, like learning bits and pieces are online, like the ninjutsu and things like that, I'm very fascinated in, and other arts. Be it, you know, Aikido, Hapkido, you know, the Japanese, Korean arts and all that. I love all martial arts, okay? But this is the thing, and Densley is a martial artist like me who practices a number of different martial arts. I wouldn't say a mixed martial artist because I don't want to put this the wrong way, but I don't get my shit mixed up, okay? And if that's what you want to call it, and that's what it is. Shit, but you know, in all fairness, in the respect of others and the respect of ourselves, which martial arts is all about, and Kung Fu is all about, you know, you will know the goodness, you will know very well that what you've been training. That truth itself will not lie to you. You can feel it within you, what you are, you know. And it's you know, you're a musician and you know, play the violin or whatever the F, you know, whatever, playing a violin or whatever it might be. If your passion lies in music, and that music is just running through you all throughout the day, I'm sure you're getting ideas for new tunes and new ways of playing music, you know what I mean? But it's like anyone, you could be a chef cooking, you could be an artist, a painter, whatever, it is a thing. But this is what martial arts always talks about. Kung Fu talks about this, and then even going back and studying the other stuff, like the Budo and the samurai days, talking about mastering yourself and mastering different arts. Yeah, fair enough, you go back and look into the culture and of the ancient, you know, peoples, you know, in either China, Japan, or wherever in the world, or ancient civilizations, and there being like laid down certain rules that, you know, certain disciplines that must be upheld by a samurai, for example, you know, wood cutting, you know, wood make, what do you call it, woodsmanship or whatever, you know, fucking tea making and all the rest of it. You know, it's like a soldier of the modern day might need to understand, you know, medicine and first aid and things like that. But what I'm saying is, it's just the lessons are there. The same way as you need to take care of like every part of your body in the martial arts. Excuse me. Martial arts is there to remind you that you need to be balancing and taking care of everything in your life, you know, what you do, and the more knowledge you can get from this beautiful experience that we have, we call life, you know, it is like a mirror of ourselves. It's a mirror of ourselves. You know, it's always, the truth is there in our face. Whenever you are thirsty, you know, or hungry, you need to go and work out how to get that. Well, you need that nutrition, or you know what I mean. It's always there. How to cross that bridge, how to, you know what I mean. So, for me, it's real deep. But Densley, my brother, hi Densley, I'm going to cut to the chase. You know, he asked me to make this talk video about how I found Kung Fu, basically, how Kung Fu, how I chose to take that path, you know, of being a Kung Fuist as a martial artist and such, more so than the other martial arts, or how Kung Fu found me, he's saying. I think that's the great way of saying, actually, that Kung Fu found me, or martial arts found me anyway, on the whole. But, you know, either way, it's the same thing. What I believe, okay, is, you know, you can go to Jackie Chan if you want, and you can say, you know, you can say, oh, like Jackie Chan says, everything is Kung Fu and all that. But it truly is. Now, recently, okay, I saw a clip online. I saw a trailer for some film. I saw a trailer online, okay, for some film. It looks funny, but I'm not at all interested in it. It's Ralph Macchio, whatever his name is. You know the guy from Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid classic films, the young, you know, Daniel LaRusso, you know. Of course, he's older now, but he's made a new movie, you know, it's called I think it's called Wax On, Fuck Off, apparently. Wax On, Fuck Off. It was a funny trailer, but you know what? To me, it was just another stab in the back, basically, to martial arts. I see a lot of the time now, I see a lot of these, you know, the times are changing, the youth of today is changing, the attitude of people is changing, and people are not so pure as they once were. And you might look back on the old movies, such as things like Karate Kid, the original, you know, things like that, and you might look and say, and take the piss, you know, just like these stars of these films once did, you know, and now they're growing up and they're looking at it in a different way and taking the mick and making fun, you know, making fun of the old stuff. But you know what I'm saying, it's cheesy and all this, but to me, right, back in the day, people were more pure. And when you watch an old film like Karate Kid, I don't care if you go back and say that's naff, or even like the old Rockies, you know, for example, you know. You might say that, but to me they were really, really in depth, right on, spot on key, you know, really talking about the emotions of a person. They were very simple, fair enough, they were straight to the point, but those old movies, they were talking about the very true essence of martial arts. Now they say all of the martial arts came from Kung Fu, really, or basically were spin-offs, or, you know, derived from Kung Fu in China. You know, the Okinawas, Japanese and all that, and later other places, you know, Korea, started to form their own systems and were very influenced by Kung Fu systems, Shaolin and the different Kung Fu systems. So you've got, you know, karate systems which contain elements of the White Crane fist and things like that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not, you know, beat around the bush. What I'm trying to say, basically, is you go back and you look at those old Kung Fu films, though, you know. So those old 1980s, 70s, just going back. The further you go back, I feel, you find people were smarter back in the day. It's just people in this modern day and age, they're learning laziness, And basically they just got this, it's like a sickness of the mind, I feel. They're just disgusting pigs. Now, just recently, I've met a few generations, in the last couple of days, of, I'm talking middle-aged, older age, and new young age people, you know. I've come across some real pigs in the last couple of days, and I've met some real stuck-up, fake-ass motherfuckers. Excuse my language, I speak how I want to speak. Because they're not clean within themselves, they're not pure within themselves. I'm not going to mention people's names and put them down. I'm just saying that they're lost in this laziness that you know, of the modern day. I've met some people recently from different countries, okay, from many different countries. It shows that across the world, sadly, to different levels and different cultures, but there is a weak, negative attitude towards life amongst so many human beings, sadly. It's like a weakness. It's like they look at each other as, you know, you've got to see me as good, and you know, and I'm better than you, and you know, and whatever it might be about money or whatever. But they put on this fake attitude and they just play fake their whole life, and I just see people that are not really happy. It's like at different stages of ill health from the inside showing outwardly, and it makes me want to puke, okay? Oh, is it KO or OK, or maybe you've stopped the video now, but let's be realistic, okay? You can even listen to Skinny Me, or you can go and watch MMA with people doing whatever they're doing on the ground, you know, just covered in sweat and blood. Or you can watch some of this knockout shit you see online, you know. You know, it's like the brawls and the street fights you see online and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, be it in your job, just bad mouthing the people you work with. I don't care if you're a boss or whatever level you might be at. I don't care how much money you are. I don't care if it's with your family. I don't care, you know, if you're talking to your loved ones, your family, your friends, your work colleagues. Anywhere you go, or just your attitude you carry on the street and all this. Look at how much fucking gel you put in your hair and all that, how long you look in the mirror for and tweak your shit. You know, I'm just being pretty plain and simple, okay? I don't care if you're from the ghetto in the hoods and you believe, you know, you've got worse than everybody else. And what I'm saying is we're all human beings. On whatever level, we're all human beings. We've got to learn to respect each other and respect ourselves. Now, respect yourself if others won't. And the way to do that is not be going around being a negative asshole. You've got to take care of your health. Right? So I don't care if I'm pulling, you know, you're cracking up through this whole video, but I'm being very serious in what I'm saying. Now, generally, my good friend online, okay, asked me about Kung Fu and why is Kung Fu mainly. Now, I'm not the biggest, baddest fighter. But what I'm trying to say is like this. If you look at, when you think of, like, let's say Shaolin, okay, Shaolin Kung Fu, you think of like China, you think of the Shaolin monks, or you think of Buddhism. Now for me, I don't have a religion myself, but let's face it, we see a lot of wars and groups across the world from different groups, be it religious groups or all kinds of groups of this negative, people going around and just from their beliefs just causing trouble. But I'm not religious, you know, as such. But when you think back though, to like the monks, you know, the Shaolin monks, the Buddhist Kung Fu, there's definitely some kind of like connection there. And it's all about help yourself, and you know, Zen and all this, and peace, and do good, and look for the truth within yourself. Now these are very, very good philosophies for life, for real life, where the imagination is the beginning of everything real you see around you in this human modern world we live in, you know. Through the practice of oneself, you learn. Practice is the master of who you are. It's like every time you see a shadow on the ground with light shining from some fucking angle. I've named mine T Shad to Tommy Shades, Tommy Shadow, the motherfucking ninja assassin, bitch. I've made raps about the dude. You might see him in some of my videos saluting and waving and giving you the shadow. Word up, you motherfucker. But I'm not talking about, I'm saying every time you look at your shadow on the ground or your reflection, doesn't that remind you that you're there? You're there, you know what I mean? So when you look to a shadow, you will always know that there's light on the other side. Kung Fu teaches this. So I'm trying to say to you, Kung Fu is interrelated. It's talking about the practice of yourself, a true belief from the heart, and doing good, looking into yourself. You cannot be the best you without focusing on yourself. You cannot be better at anything you do, you know, unless you practice, you know, the Kung Fu, let's say. You don't practice it, you know, that you will never be like the warrior, you know what I mean? So, the thing with Kung Fu though, it's not beat about the bush as I have been already, for a while now, is teaching you body-mind, like all martial arts do. I think it's the wrong, you know, thing to say, you know, Kung Fu or another martial art in some way. All the others are just outer ripples of Kung Fu, and that's another way I see it. I'm not going to go back and be too political about the actual origins of what came from what, Japan, Okinawa, China, Korea. I'm not going like that. I'm just saying that from my perspective, Kung Fu's in the middle. From my perspective, on the island I'm on, so, you know, in my centre, you know what I'm saying? And what I've found from Kung Fu is, because it's so flowing in its movement, and not only in its movement, I don't mean flowing in the movements and beautiful, I don't mean that. I'm saying there's so many styles and so many methods and so many ways through this thing. There's so many ways through Kung Fu, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not going to get too complicated. I'm not going to say that, you know, a style needs to be complicated. It needs to have so many moves and systems and styles. Because Kung Fu definitely has the most. There are so many styles of Kung Fu. You know, there are different family schools of like different styles of like karate and things like that. But what I'm saying, you know, and kickboxing, whatever. But I'm saying with Kung Fu, you know, it's got loads of styles, and other martial arts got elements and were influenced from those different styles. But, you know, Bruce Lee once said, even, I'm not a massive fan of him, but I know he's great, but Bruce Lee even once said that, you know, he's not afraid of the man. I don't know the exact words, okay guys, I don't know the exact words, but I know Bruce Lee said he's not afraid of someone who has practiced, you know, 100, let's say 100 or 1,000, let's say 1,000 techniques once, practiced. He'd be afraid of someone who's practiced one move 1,000 times, or, you know, multiple times. So, of course, we're not talking about you need a million different techniques, you know. If you're good with that one technique, you can do the job in anything you do in life. Destructiveness is negativeness. Negativeness is nothing, it's weakness, and you beat this shit down. So if you wake up with an attitude every day of putting others down, you're just fucking your life up, because you can learn a lot from other human beings. You're patient, humble, and try and make friendship and communication. So before you go around trying to harm others. But positiveness is everything. Growth, development, connection with others, learning, and you're empowering yourself to stand up. In this earth, or this world, we can't control every other human being around us. We can't control the forces of nature, but we are part of it. We're living in this thing. It's beautiful. So, Kung Fu, let's say Kung Fu then. When I say though, I feel the art. I feel the arts of Kung Fu are very deep in the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the fucking whole essence of the whole thing. You could feel such essences in karate and things like that, because they're derived from that. So what I'm saying is, if you just practice a certain kata or a form or of any art, it could be a karate style or a Kung Fu style, let's say. You go around, it could be boxing, it could be punching on a pad, it could be modern day MMA, you're just grappling some guy on the floor with your fucking head between his bum cracks, whatever you like doing, I don't know. I don't like MMA, so I don't like it, okay? My opinion to it. That's my point of view. I'm just saying, okay? It doesn't matter what you do, if you just stay doing that one thing the whole time, you know, that's all you'll ever know. You know, it's like the other day I was talking to another Wing Chun practitioner, and this guy, you know, knows a bit or whatever, but he was saying, you know, we were talking about MMA, and he was saying, oh yeah, that's efficient, man. That's efficient, you know. anything can be a Christian. But, you know, what do you really want? I'm trying to say, do you want, let's say if you found an encyclopedia of life, a book of life, the book of life, and there's like thousands of pages in it, but there's like loads of pages missing, but it's still really thick and it's got lots of information. And then you find another copy that's got even more pages missing, it's just got 2 pages in the whole fucking book. Fair enough, you compare whatever knowledge you need for life, but wouldn't you want more knowledge? In life you study for more knowledge, right? Kung Fu is teaching you about life. Kung Fu is teaching you more knowledge. You go to a kickboxing school, you go to a Muay Thai school, you go to MMA or whatever, I'm not putting them down, I love them, but they're talking about fighting, and that's it. They're talking about just how to hurt somebody, how to stand up and deliver devastating blows. You can go to any essence from your human mind and say, well no, this is a discipline, this is teaching me to be healthy and fit, I can get a lot of benefits, I can protect myself on the streets with these skills too, or I can take it into the ring. It might help me in law and order, maybe if you're a police officer, let's say. It might help you in many ways. It might even teach you a lot about yourself. It might give you more confidence. It might help you in your daily life, and you learn a lot. That's what the benefits are of most martial arts. There are people in the world who've got hand gliding or survival fucking training, excuse my language, in rainforests and climbing up mountains and stuff, or been out at sea, or you know, like Bear Grylls and whatever training you see survival for. There's a lot of things you can do in your life which can also give you the same kind of spiritual or heartfelt kind of emotions and learning knowledge, you know, and such. Excuse my wording here, it's kind of hard to put into words because the very essence of the whole thing is the truth cannot be put out in words. It's the same as the guy I'm a big fan of, Lao Tzu. His name is Lao Tzu of the Tao Te Ching, my favourite book, Chinese book, philosopher, ancient China. It's the same thing. Say the true way, or the Tao, you know, the way. It cannot be put into words. The truth is the truth. And you hear other things like, you know, religious quotes and stuff, or the truth sets you free and all this. But the truth really is, but the only truth is the one that you feel. But that truth is absolutely your truth. And whatever you believe in is true. But there's this seeing is believing and feeling is the truth. A good quote once actually mentioned again by Sifu Sharif of the Hongar also. But I'm just saying, okay, seeing is believing, feeling is the truth. It's not this seeing this pretty show and all this, or someone knocking the shit out of people on the street, or someone going around in a suit bragging about how much money. Feeling is the truth. There's big bullies out there. There's big bullies, maybe it's you. Maybe you feel great when you put somebody down, or you feel someone's afraid of you and they listen to you, right? Maybe you feel good, of course, because who wants to be the follower? You'd rather be the leader, right? You want to have the power. So most people feel like this. They're not able to humble themselves and put themselves down on a level and say, I'm the same as you, let alone lower than you. Nobody is lower than anyone. Excuse me, but to humble yourself and say, look, I'm just a human being, I'm flesh and blood underneath it all. You know, and I want to, you know, and I'm capable of whatever I put my mind to. But there's 2 heads are better than one. You know, in the world, people have done great things together, civilizations. One person didn't build that city you're living in now, or wherever you're living, or that village. You know what I mean? It was done by people working together. But it weren't just the money and all that, it was the heart and the need to survive. That's where Kung Fu came from, the need to survive. So the need to survive, when you're laying on the bed and you've got disease and you're dying because you really need to get that health in your body, but the heart's still pumping, you ain't thinking about, this is fucking hard work, and your lungs are trying to breathe air, the nature that you came from. You know you're thirsty, you know you're tired now, you're waking up in the morning on a comfortable bed, you need a wash, you need a shit piss and get food, and I love my cups of tea. I know I'm talking to the camera now being sarcastic about having a joke, but I know I've got to go back to the real life. I've got my family, I've got work. Reality is there, you're part of it. So it's not a rant here, this is the stuff that I never say. The things that are not in words, the things that people are telling you every day. I can get jacked up their ass. I'm just saying, right? That stuff is not, what I mean is that stuff is not the reality of what is true. I'm not saying don't trust people and believe people, and believe what you see, what you feel, and what is relevant. But you don't need to go around beating people to their knees or living on your knees your whole life. That's what it's about. Balance. If there's imbalance, that's what you get, you know. And it's about yin and yang, and yin yang. That's what life's about, and you just have to. You can't have one side without the other. So that means there is balance. So if you are imbalancing your life, when there actually is balance, this is yin yang, the whole nature. You're turning yourself off the law of nature. It's like you go to fight against a typhoon, same thing. You are going against nature, the laws of the absolute truth. I'm not saying science and just what you study, it's the absolute truth. And you say, oh, what the fuck, man, absolute truth, yeah, you put it in my head, in your mouth. I don't mean that. I mean, the laws of nature, you look at any fucking, you know, from the yin yang, okay, yin and yang. Two sides to everything, right? Hot, cold, light, dark, you know, up, down, you will get that. So if you go against the laws of nature, well, you're trying to fuck everything up. So you're trying to damage anything, you're going to mess yourself up. And how are we going to give examples explaining this? Well, we have to go into that complicated talk and have this situation or that situation, or when you're at work, how to spend your money, or what the fuck, or so and so, how to deal with this kind of a question. How would you answer such a person? And it becomes so fucking complicated. And one day you wake up with white hair. Here, I've got some here, and you just die. Now, take care of your health. It's not about looking for the way, it's looking at where you are. You won't get lost if you know you are here, you're standing there now. Even if you turn this computer off, you are fucking here in the world of realism, in your realm of belief. You know? Change the channel. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not about looking for the way, because I just mentioned being off balance and going against nature, you will be imbalancing the flow of nature, you'll fuck yourself up by being a negative asshole, and you will be messing up your health on some level. So Kung Fu is teaching you through some kind of physical training to protect and maintain and develop, and be focused in everything you're doing, in actions, speaking and listening at the same time, and when you're not doing it, you're still doing something. It teaches you to be calm and not be a flappermouth to a camera like this, or be showing off all day or trying to fight. It teaches you to listen and feel every essence from every angle, like a sphere. It's teaching you from every angle to be in connection of balance, like a ball with no top, bottom, whatever, in or out. It's just perfect. And you will never reach imperfection, but even more so, you'll never reach perfection, but you will even more so not reach perfection in a certain focused field. All you can do is improve yourself and develop yourself. But you've got to remember, seeing any level of high or low is just your perception of what you're seeing and comparing to the world around you. And if that's other people's mouths or negativeness that you are putting, that you are seeing and creating, for yourself as a fake thing, then you're really wasting your time. And you're doing nothing ultimately. So learn to feel and learn to develop, just like the cells in your body growing every day. Now, this is not a very good answer. It's quite a deep fucking philosophical talk. We could go into the emotion and the mind and the heart and mind and how you see life in different situations, which we will do in other videos, I'm sure, talking about. On a simple level, that is, when you go into deep shit like that. But then you've got the physical training. So if I say to you, Kung Fu is the best, if I say for fighting, you know, to really fight, or for training to keep your body healthy, I'm sure there are people out there who are in much better shape than me, or better fighters than me, and they can explain how their art is the best, even scientifically, because you can see how strong they are and how well they fight, and or have fought against other living beings in different situations. But what I'm saying is, with Kung Fu styles, I feel they're very honest. They're talking about more deeper things, especially the internal. And when I say internal, I don't only mean internal, external, Kung Fu, Kung Fu, and the internal like Qigong and breathing. I don't mean that. I mean like they're really internal. They're teaching you to focus on every aspect of your body and your mind, and basically the practice of you. The actual physical art, no matter, Kung Fu systems are the deepest. If you really look into them and you study them, you'll find that they're the deepest. Elements come across and go into other styles. Like you might be practicing karate and you might be practicing in such a deep manner. In fact, you are practicing maybe even harder than some Kung Fu practitioners. But what you're actually doing is the essence of Kung Fu within that. And you can, you can take that and do that in anything you do in your life. You're the best doctor or the best chef, as I've said before. But the difference is like a Kung Fu master, or someone who's really humble about it, not someone who teaches Kung Fu fighting to thousands of people every day. And he's beating how many you're going to fight. I don't mean that. But I'm saying if you're a Kung Fu master and you're humble within yourself, like you see in the old, like you see the old Kung Fu movies and that, when they say about masters living up in the mountains and, and mystical and all that, living like monks or very spiritual. That's like in the old movies, and you say that's fake shit. But that is the kind of attainment you want. Not necessarily a religion even, but it's like a religion almost. Like when you're actually a master, someone who's focused on themselves to that level, that kind of a person will be very fucking able in everything they do in their life. Kung Fu teaches you to see the truths in life all around you. And what I'm saying now to you will not help you to understand that necessarily. Because that's just bullshit. Because I'm speaking on a YouTube video, I'm swearing a lot, and I'm a skinny little English guy just talking this shit to you now. And then you see my nipples out here, and I'm just got a fan blowing in my face here, and you just don't know what I'm talking about. You think it's ego. There's masters that have died, there's knowledge that is fading away sadly. But the people out there who do know what I'm talking about traditional martial arts and the truth of it, and how that even transcends across and to what levels even in other martial arts and Budo and whatever styles of martial art across the world. I believe Kung Fu exists within all martial arts, the spirit of it. And even if you say, well no it doesn't, and what you do is traditional, whatever, another style of martial art, from another culture, great. It's not exactly Kung Fu like a name brand. Adidas, Puma, Coca-Cola, we're not talking about that. It's the very essence of the thing itself, the very belief of the person inside. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of acting, it's a way of fucking being and developing yourself and realising the truth. But when you're focusing on something, be it sewing the fucking, sewing a jumper up, knitting, or you're looking over there at a pizza, smelling that, and you prick your finger like a prick, and you realise you've got trouble, and you trip over the fucking banisters, or fall off the train or something, you know what I mean? You've got to focus on what you're doing. So you're thinking about, oh yeah, martial arts, 1 minute you're the trainer in some martial arts and fitness studio, doing kickboxing, teaching people, and you're like yawning 1 minute, thinking about when you're going to get paid, and the next minute, you're the badass again, you get into a fight in a bar, and all your fighting techniques come out, and you're thinking, I want to fucking knock this guy out. Or you're thinking about your Muay Thai and how to bust people up, I'm just saying any martial art, right? You're focusing on that one thing. Whereas Kung Fu, the philosophy, is teaching you the whole essence and feeling of the very being and very self. It's teaching you simplicity. You might say it's the deepest, the most, so complicated. You nearly spoke Chinese to you, that's all. You can't focus on everything. It's like, it's teaching you to feel every molecule in your body, every fucking atom, every point, every bit from all your body in Tai Chi, for example, you feel the whole face, everything. So when next time you go into karate, you do a simple punch or a block, you can feel your whole essence more. Anyone, a basic beginner in learning martial arts, yeah? You might be a beginner in martial arts karate, like when I first started when I was young, you might be just thinking, block, punch, how to do this move. And you're so external, or you'll be like a kickboxing punch in a bag, let's say. You're really not in tune with yourself. Your moves are all over the place. And the only time you get better, I don't care who you are, Manny Pacquiao, boxing, whoever you only get better when you start feeling the essence more, feeling, working that shadow boxing and focus. It's teaching your focus that it's not just focusing on the world around you, it's being aware of the world around you, and your focus comes into tune with it all. through the physical training, and Kung Fu styles are beautiful because there's so many essences and so many movements and ways and flows. It teaches you, it's very round and fluid like water, they say. It's not like just so rigid, so to the point. You can flow with your boxing, you can flow with your head chuck, silat, whatever martial art you do. Krav Maga, Sistine, well, there's many good martial arts there, I know, okay? Even with your MMA, which I hate, but I'm just saying, you know, whatever you do, okay? I know you're probably going to say MMA is the traditional mixed martial art. I know, yeah, I know, whatever. I know that, all that, Muay Thai, I know, whatever, all that. Jiu-Jitsu. I don't care what we're talking about. Ninjutsu, I love all of them. What I'm trying to say is, it's like anything. In the beginning, you will be rigid. You could be a worker learning how to hammer, you know, something or build a house, you know, do work. You'll be rigid. But until you start feeling the essence of that balance, until you stand focused but relaxed, not too focused, not too relaxed, balancing on a. You see these people outside working on the buildings and construction sites, and they're not falling off. They're doing, you know, scary to look at some of these people, but they're really in tune. They've got their balance. They're like mountain goats. You know what I mean? In tune with nature, not complicated like human beings, but they are. It's like Bruce Lee said. You know, again, Bruce Lee. It's like not thinking but not dreaming. Like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't focus on the. It's all there in what he said, even. So what I'm trying to say is, Kung Fu teaches you the beauty of life through everything. That's what I feel. But it's teaching you to be in tune with nature and not be imbalanced in one part of your life. It's teaching you to naturally feel where another part of your life needs to be put into balance or fit into gear. I find for me, there's other martial arts sometimes, just for me, okay, sometimes there's like imbalances and it doesn't teach you a lot more than just the art itself and the fighting, and then it carries health benefits. I was saying other martial arts I find sometimes just, to me, they're just, there's a lot of spaces and holes in them. They teach you a lot meaningful wise, they do teach you a lot to be stronger than yourself, they teach you balance, they teach you control, coordination, power, all of that, the techniques, you know, the movements, but it doesn't teach you a lot like Kung Fu does, I feel, to me. Kung Fu systems are that extra depth. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you can have a ring donut, but you could have a jam donut, you know, with the jam in. But if you don't want the jam, fair enough, you can stick to your other arts. I'm not trying to put other people down and say what you do is hollow, you know, what you do is, you know, simple, and this is not good enough, you know, and this is that, you need to learn this. I don't mean that. But I'm able to say that. I'm able to shut up, as well as I'm able to speak something and actually know what I'm talking about from the experiences I've had in Kung Fu, and that's what it gives you. I believe, you know, Kung Fu people will be able to feel a lot of the essence of other martial artists, like in sports fighting people, what they can feel in terms of the physical. I'm saying the styles, you know, if a Kung Fu person never did MMA, let's say, like me, fair enough, I've never done MMA, I'm not a big tough guy and all this, like MMA, and I don't have the experience. I go into the ring and get my ass beat maybe at my level, or depending on who I'm up against, of course. But it's like, I know that I have the experience in me. I know that I can feel, I can feel that essence of what they'd be like, as in imposing their power on somebody, striking and kicking and moving with it, just within a physical art. But these MMA guys or other martial artists will not feel necessarily the same essence, depending on what art we're talking about, or that individual. But they will never feel the essence of Kung Fu. It teaches you within the actual feeling of just like doing nothing almost. It's only doing nothing. What do you fucking mean? Just kidding. And still being able to get, it's like a gun straight on target, you know, just going straight to, you know, like when you see these old like Kung Fu films, and like really exaggerated stuff, like, you know, when he's just like dodging attacks like the wind and he's just going straight in with the sword, straight to the point. And you say, well, if that was in real life, that would be really fucking impossible, you know? But it's good to watch, yeah? That's the true essence, though, what Kung Fu is teaching you with your mind and your feeling and your reaction. So on any angle, it is teaching you that. that kind of essence and sound. Whereas other arts talk about how to restrain somebody good, how to get you into to knock someone's head off, and that's all there is to it. And that, to me, is the piggish attitude, or the piggish attitude that's reflected in society. Simple-mindedness. Kung Fu teaches you balance and harmony with yourself. That means harmony with the world around you. If you can't stand balance, are you pissed, paralytic, drunk, what the fuck? That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't smoke. I'm not an angel. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. I want to make the most of my life. It teaches me all these truths. Because I don't want to be walking like that when actually the ground's flat, you know. In a situation that's either perfect or imperfect, I want to be perfect to the best of my ability, you know. Balance within myself. Because if not, I'll be fucked. I'll be working, I'll be chopping my own arm off, or hitting something, or knocking someone. That's what it is. Kung Fu teaches balance. That's what I'm saying. That's my final word on it in this video, okay? So, I'll say this video though, I might break up into parts, or I might keep as one video, I don't know yet, but whatever. I hope you've enjoyed everything I've said. Basically, this is for Demsley, it's a real talk about it. But originally, as I say, it was just like this. I knew there was more to Kung Fu. It was this deep thing. But, you know, when I was young, I just grew up watching like Jackie Chan films, Jet Li and people like that, watching films and Sammo Hung and that, Chinese Kung Fu films, and of course they're the best, like really entertaining old films. And I really wanted to learn more of that. I knew there was more deep on the spiritual and mind side, but it was also, in the essence, but it was like also back in the day when I was watching like Kung Fu films, I realised the arts were really interesting, very complicated, and so many different techniques. The techniques themselves, the physical structure, just fascinated me. But you've got to remember, it's not about flowery movements and showy stuff and all this, or watching films. It's about the actual truth of it all. But you've got to understand, man, you read one whole book, it can help you a lot. You know, I mean, you get more knowledge from life, it can help you a lot. But it's like, sometimes you can't know the house until you know door, window, roof, wall, you know what I'm saying? And you say, oh yeah, don't fucking need that, man, you just need a wall and four walls. I'll build you a house with 4 walls, man. You'll be in that fucking dying with no air and food in there. Oh, you forgot your toilet as well, where to shit? You shit all over the place, you die in your own stink. Yeah, I'm making up stupid psychological bullshit, but this is exactly what people are doing in the world around them. Kung Fu is built upon the strongest principles, as in strengthen yourself. A tree doesn't, you get any tree out there in the world now, any tree, it doesn't start growing up from the root and say, oh fuck me, I've got to compare with other trees. That little skinny tree is to compare with some oak tree. They're not meant to smash each other up and beat each other up, are they? They just grow up naturally from the strength of their roots. You see what I mean? And that's all there is to it. The truth is the truth. We're not here to kill each other. We're not here to damage things. But we're here to survive. And that's all there is. We're here to live this beautiful life, eat, and whatever. Why not help each other? Because we've got the strength to help each other as human beings. We've got the strength to help each other. There's a few monkeys by the trees and they can't get the fruit down. I'm sure they'd help each other climb up, maybe, or maybe they'd fight amongst each other. We're civilized human beings. The same thing, right? Firefighters want to rescue someone from a building. I'm sure they might climb up and help each other, maybe. We've got the power to help each other. So why do we have to go around killing each other all the time? If we help each other, it might secure more chance of people helping you again later on. There's a lack of distrust in people. There's a lack of trust in people, I'm saying. There's a distrust in people that will help you again. And greed and selfishness and this and that. And you think, well, I'm sticking shit. And that's why you get movies out there now and online or in the cinema that are making you feel sick. It's just cheap ass fucking jokes. And and things like this, facts on fuck off thing and things like that. It looks good fun, but it's like taking the nick of what was once done before. I love the old Rockies, I love the old Karate Kid films. I love back in the day, David Carradine, the old Kung Fu. So, you know, I like meaningful things, even the old classic Disney movies, whatever. But you look back and you say, I'm talking about stupid shit, the old school Sesame Street, whatever the fuck I'm talking about. But back in the day, I'm saying, going back from your parents or your parents' parents, going back to the 50s or whatever, people with minds, not only were they hard-working people more so, they didn't have the technology we've got today, but they also were more pure, more family-orientated. Families used to eat together, things like that. You go to these poor little villages and stuff in the world where they've got no shoes on their feet, even to this day. They stick together. You get animals in the forest sticking together. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what you find in China and Chinese culture even to this day. In China you find the families are very strong, connected together, connected. There's this togetherness, you know what I mean? But people you find all over the world, in China, England, America, Africa, wherever, India, anywhere. People there's too much violence and destroying each other, and that comes from hate and greed within themselves, in a dark place. And Kung Fu teaches you focus. Excuse me, but there's people in the world now who don't know anything about that. They just know, you know, there's arts. In the holiday I'm going to go snowboarding, man. I'm going to climb a mountain, or I'm going to this or that. I'm going to play tennis, or I'm going to do some kickboxing. Hey, have you ever tried that? Hey, let's get my kids into MMA, man. You know, or let's fucking, whatever it's going to be next up, you know what I mean? And there's people on Facebook or whatever talking shit every day about people, and, oh yeah, man, oh, you gotta try this, and it's all fake shit. They don't know what they're talking about. It's just no grounded, you know, face the hard, challenge yourself to be humble when everybody else is treating other people like shit. You know, and you, if you haven't been the punching bag, or haven't, you know, it's like, you know, there's a story, it's a good story of like a karate master, okay, and this is the very essence of Kung Fu, I believe, too, where this karate master, it's a true story apparently, where I forgot which style it was, but you can check it up online. There's even a show about that, about karate. What's it called? I forgot the name now. Oh, but there's a show, okay, online. There's a karate thing, okay. And there was a master who died, and he was really, really good. He was attacked. He was set upon by a group of thugs, and he was able to. He could have destroyed them all with his skill. He was a real master. But he didn't. He let them beat the shit out of him. And to me, that's ridiculous. I don't believe anyone should do that. I reckon you've gone to a point of where you've given up on your life, or you really care about trusting people that they will learn something through this and become good people later on. I don't know what. They could have killed him. But he let them beat him up, and he didn't even raise a hand. He didn't even block, because his blocks are trained or whatever. He just didn't want to fight against it. He thought that any kind of resilience of blocking against or defending is a kind of fighting, is a kind of action. Now to me, I think that's ridiculous. Maybe he just accepted that he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and to accept all pain and there's no pain, and he's like the true master. But for me or any civilized person, I would even advise to any martial artist or any human, you'd have to defend yourself. You can't run away, you have to fight and defend yourself. I wouldn't want my body to be smashed up by people at all, or stabbed up, you know what I mean? But that's the level he was at, I'm trying to say. It's teaching you to like really be able to do nothing. So I said, I can be the punching bag, it doesn't mean anything. People feel like they've been walked over in this world. I'm sure maybe you feel like you get walked over sometimes by people just with their words or their attitude towards you. I've been through shit, I've been bullied most of my life, but it hasn't changed me. I still go around and be kind to people and try to make communication with other people and avoid trouble. The ninjas in Japan are some of the smartest warriors ever, I believe. They wouldn't go straight up to a fight. That's ninjutsu or ninja art, Japan, let's say. So that kind of mentality with stealth and avoiding trouble and going straight into the job, to me that is the real essence of Kung Fu, what it should be about. And you only fight, you know, you only walk around that maze if you enter the maze. You make your life complicated, you know what I'm saying? You have to be ready for anything. So Kung Fu is like training you to be the warrior, to be ready for anything, like all martial arts do. But a lot of martial arts and fighting arts at it are just teaching you to be a fighter. And that's not what Kung Fu is about. And that's the essence that is put through, like the old movies like Karate Kid or old stories of old ancient Chinese stories, whatever they say. That's the true essence of Kung Fu. That's what it's really about. So people out there don't have a fucking clue what true Kung Fu is about. And they think it's a joke. And it's the same. It's going the same way these days with a lot of martial arts out there. You know, it's like, you know, most people that you've ever seen in your life who's been like really good, let's say, in the martial arts, has been from the older generation, the generation above my generation, let's say, or a generation or two before me, you know. But in my generation now, I see this young people that are doing martial arts. It's like the next generation, like, you know, I'm 32, but it's like in this video, it's like you see people in their 20s or the next generation. Martial arts is dying out, and they're not going to know much about it. You see this stinking, sick fucking propaganda of comedy and in the films, and this piggish attitude towards one another, violence in the world in the whole, crazy phase, what do you call it, fads and people's minds and where they're going in this world. You know, people are sick anyway in general. There's laws being invented by the day, things being changed, this is alright, that's not alright, things being acceptable, unacceptable, and then you've got religious battles between groups, and the people in general. It's like is there any hope, you know? But martial arts is a hope. It's telling you to focus on yourself. Why wouldn't you focus on the centre? Your centre. What? You. Why? Everything grows from the centre. A seed will grow out into a fruit or a tree, you know. It grows out. The universe is expanding. You go against that, you're imploding yourself up. It's the same way as if you crawl into a ball and you give up on your life. You're going to crunch yourself and kill yourself. You're not going to do that, are you? No. So that's what martial arts is about. So martial arts, though, on the fighting part of the Kung Fu, though, it's like telling you to be ready and on many, many levels. I find there's a lot of physical skill and technique in it, in terms of feeling your whole centre and then doing. You feel the same when you can do it. You can feel the balance through the different techniques in what you're doing, I'm saying. Now, I didn't say fighting, I didn't say exercising, working out. All of that's included. How to defend, how to strike, how to apply your personality now in a certain way and speak in a feelingful way to get more answer back from the other person because you want to know better and make better communication with your fellow human beings. Just feeling everything you're doing. It's like, you know when you sense, when you're doing some cooking and you sense that thing you're cooking up there is like burning, it's like you can feel, I need to flip it over. You can feel the essence more better. It's like your whole life. It's like when you're laying on a pillow at night, relaxed, after you've been treating people like shit all day, and then you go to bed the same as anyone, and you rest on that pillow because you want to go to sleep now, close your eyes, or you can feel that pillow's a little bit off the angle, you turn it slightly or move the pillow, or adjust it, you can feel it. You don't just lay on a brick, do you? You know straight away, and then you get busted up neck the next day. So maybe I'm speaking a lot of shit here, but Kung Fu is something I come into contact with. I was interested in Kung Fu from the films and stuff, you know, and I wanted to learn more like Oriental or Chinese art, especially because I like Kung Fu films mainly. They interested me in the physical arts and the spiritual side too, and all that, the mind side, I mean the inner, internal. But because I did karate first, there weren't any other like schools around for other things like ninjutsu or, you know, aikido. There were, you know, or even hapkido. There was only like a jiu-jitsu school around, which I've never been interested in. It's my personal choice. Other things were like, you know, Muay Thai and kickboxing, but you know, I weren't too into any, or boxing, you know, or other schools that were around, like fitness. You know, you get this Thai bow or whatever people do out there. It was like I did kickboxing, you know, and that was it. I was thinking, well, I'm not going to go back to karate, and there's no other good schools around. I want to look for some Kung Fu schools, because, you know, that's what it's about. And then that's what happened. You know, my journey into Kung Fu went from there. I learned 5 animal Kung Fu. I learned a bit of Wing Chun. Coming to China, I've continued. I've done some basic Tai Chi, a bit of Bagua, long fist wushu, weapons both south and north. And I'm not boasted about it all, but I've learned a lot. And in other elements and other arts, bits and pieces I've learned online too, from things such as Hapkido and Ninjutsu and Aikido and things like that. But I love it all. I did do 2 weeks of Taekwondo once, I did do that. But I love Wing Chun. There are like Tai Chi schools in England, but I find for Kung Fu schools there's not a lot of good ones. And martial arts schools on the whole, apart from MMA and stuff, you don't get a lot of good ones these days. It's not like in the 80s or 70s, everybody going into karate schools, the kids getting into karate. It's not a big thing. Sports are a big thing now, like basketball and all that, but I feel that's just a part of society, people playing around. Kung Fu doesn't teach you like, basketball don't teach you what fucking Kung Fu teaches you. Basketball, maybe you're a good jumper, maybe you've got a healthy body, you're just running around dodging with a ball, and that's all there is fucking to. I'm not putting down everything, I'm not trying to put down everything that's out there, okay? I'm saying you can't compare things like that. Kung Fu is teaching your whole body when there's nothing, when it's pouring down with rain or whatever the fuck, when you're standing in the burning hot sun, and you're standing feeling the essence, feeling the fucking tendons and bones of your body. You might never get into a fight, but you are damn strong within your structure, remember. Not the thin tree comparing itself to the oak tree. I'm saying it's growing and it's developing the bark out, getting stronger on the outside, soft on the inside. So you're like a fruit, you know what I'm fucking saying? What can I say to you? I don't know what to say, but it's like a gentle heart, in tune with your emotion, knowing the truth, feeling that, focusing, training every aspect of your body, feeling when you're standing. It's just martial arts teachers, Kung Fu especially is teaching you. Just more level, at a more deeper level, and more ways, not only philosophically but physically too. I promise you, if you do a good bit of training for a good few years in some Kung Fu styles, I don't care if you go to a bloody Wudang or whatever, in Tai Chi or try some different Kung Fu styles, learn a Tai Chi form. Any Tai Chi form, just learn it. Learn it and practice it well. Believe me and and then take the essence out and think about that in your life, or and then learn some other Wing Chun, sticky hands, or you will learn a lot. I'm not trying to compare that to karate or taekwondo or Muay Thai. I'm just saying, you will learn a fucking lot. You've got this MMA, people, all they get is big bodies. They don't even look like bodybuilders. They're not even so perfect. Just big bags of meat. You can see muscle just hanging off them. Some of them are slimmer, some of them are bigger. They're just big meaty oafs. And they're just beating blood at each other's face. Yeah, that fucking belt, man. I'm everything, man, And fair enough, some of the techniques work. Takedowns, ground fight, grappling. I've got my legs around your fucking neck, homeboy, and all this. Well, what are they doing? Traditional Kung Fu, man. Real martial arts. And again, big respect to the ninja, the Japanese, the ninja, let's say. That is the best mentality I feel. That's the true essence of Kung Fu, really. Because that's talking about avoiding all problems and going straight through it unseen and but Kung Fu on the physical level, I definitely Kung Fu. But it's like with that, it's like Kung Fu, you should be good at all kinds of fighting. Excuse me. On the ground, if you're getting knocked down, but you shouldn't be trying to go down. You shouldn't be trying to grapple. You just whatever comes at you, you just deal with that. Go straight in. Oh my God. A gust of wind doesn't blow down a strong house this strong. It's a storm. A gust of wind, let's say, might not knock you down from a certain angle, but it goes to the point. It doesn't even go to the point. It doesn't even do anything. It's just like the point at which you are weak is it, isn't it? If your window's open and the wind comes in, it might blow a cup off your table. But it's like you're standing there and the wind blows you off your feet, and obviously you weren't standing strong. It's like when you do Wing Chun sticky hands or Tai Chi pushing hands, you can feel the essence, you feel the whole person's body and foundation. When you start feeling, you can feel every essence of that human being that's coming at you, and you're not having to wrestle, no matter how strong they are. You can feel a lot, and going with the flow, like, you know, O-Sensei, Aikido, this kind of essence I'm saying, you know what I mean? That's deep. And when you go with the emotion of a human being, then you start to see life on a simple level again. It takes you back to the simple. Like the old films again, like Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi and Miss Wax On Wax Off. These lessons are in you. You learn from the simple, you learn and the deep, and then you come back, you know, and it teaches you a lot about your life. But in this day and age, we don't know anything. It's no piggish, fuck this and that. Oh, and MMA is efficient, I just beat the shit out of you. That's fair enough, whatever works, works. But you want to go around hurting people for your whole life? And you might say, yeah, well, yeah, whatever, but, you know, there's no real necessary need to be learning Kung Fu as such, is there? And is there in your life? No. But when you've learned it, it's like any old good book. When you've picked it up and read it, you've got some more knowledge. And you just people asking me about martial arts and what I've learned, I will tell you there's some real gold to be found there. If you go to the deepest depths of the ocean, you'll find a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's not that there's no gold there, it's just you haven't dug hard enough. But in finding that gold, the people that were digging, their work paid off in the end. If I were to take MMA, I'm sure it will pay off in the end. I might learn from that, maybe. But believe, you know, there's people out there who are just going to say, you know, that's, for me, I'll be able to say that there's goodness in everything to be found, for every individual. But Kung Fu, the very meaning of it is that it's not just an art. Kung Fu is not just an art. It's not just I've said a Puma or Adidas fucking brand, Coca-Cola bottle. It's the truth of nature itself. That's what it's all about. And you might say I'm talking bullshit. But anyway, I know what I'm talking about from my perspective. And Kung Fu is definitely the pure. I don't want to say the purest one. I'm putting everything else down, but it really is. Kung Fu is so pure in itself. It teaches you to be humble, and it teaches you that you can almost do miracles. It's like, you know, Neo in the Matrix, you know, dodge bullet. Are you telling me I can dodge bullets? He says to Morpheus. He says no. He says, I'm telling you that when you're ready, you won't have to. A lot of these movies we've grown up on, and things like this in stories, we hear the same words being mentioned over and again. Even in the 1970s with David Carradine, Kung Fu, things like that. These words that have been put across that we hear, actually they're not the words of what you think in the modern day. These are ancient words that were found back in ancient times when there was no computers, no McDonald's, none of this fucking shit, no MMA attitude. All it was back in, I love McDonald's, but I'm trying to say, it was back in the day when everything was, you would just, you know what I mean, which is so raw and pure, you know, and you get that zen and all this, but it's like, I'm just saying, you know, all I'm saying, mate, is do more reading up, read something about knowledge that's been written in the past, don't look at it as like old and outdated and this or that, you know, humans don't change, the world changed, technology changed, but like, we're still people and they were back then. You can learn a lot from the past civilizations. If you don't believe that, then there would be no today. The only reason we have the iPhone and iPad is because of the things that were before it. But if they weren't, but it's like you say, that's not outdated though, that's old shit. They say you don't have the knowledge of that, you don't have that, you won't have the knowledge to do this. Is that your parents are the absolute reason why you have blood running through your body now. Would you disrespect that? What I'm trying to say? So going back to the root, everything comes from the root, that's the truth, that's what Kung Fu is. It teaches you to be root and to be in tune with nature, the forest around you as that tree, and be strong within yourself and feel, and not only just grow like weekly, but grow strongly and train your growth to make it even more wonderful beauty, like the golden tree in the forest that shines out, you know what I mean, it's the brightest star. And that's beautiful, right, in words, but it's what I'm trying to say to you. That's where it comes from back in the day. So you go back and study that, and then also you study the modern world around you. You can't live in the past, you have to live today. You can't live in the future, the same thing, right? So study and read books. I go to the fucking library. You see my videos online, you see Wilshire Richard in the library, bitch. See, not you personally, I'm just trying to say. Laugh it off, take it easy. Get your breath back. You know, let someone rob it from you. Let someone rob it with breath. You know what I'm saying? Some guy was running after some guy, he wanted to kill him, he wanted to take his breath, but he couldn't catch up with him, and he lost his breath and just died choking on the street. That's it, you lost your breath running after something that weren't worth it, that is not a living, breathing matter, let's say. You know, so you're chasing after other people, you're chasing after dreams, I don't care what, but everyone's got to train their self at the end of the day, otherwise they won't get anything, because there won't be no them to be getting anything. You with me on that one, okay? So Kung Fu is teaching you all angles. You're standing with a bow and arrow, you know, in the fucking wind, and you're trying to focus on that target. That's hard enough. All the distractions around you, the wind, all the lights, the sunlight, the wind, and the house of focus, you're feeling that, you're hot, sweating, a sweat dripping down your face. It's a life or death matter. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be trained over time, over years. It's not a sports club, it's punching and kicking. It takes time to train and focus your body and mind, so that you're so focused you don't even have to be anymore. And that's what Kung Fu teaches, and that's my view on it, okay? From my bit of experience and training every fucking day, the essence of, through the basic workout that I do, I feel it. And true Kung Fu teaches you a lot. It teaches you how, like I say, take a jacket off, put a jacket on like Jackie Chan, so you know how to treat other human beings and just never give up. It's not a fight, it's not a war, but you can feel exactly who the fuck you are and where you are. And next time you're in a fight, you won't be, you know, more times out of 10. But it's like, if you are, you're going to have a lot of skills, because it teaches you a lot. It teaches you all the essences that you can find in boxing and other arts, whatever skill, ground fighting, whatever, all that, grappling. It teaches you don't even need to go with that. You can just flow and move to the point of where execution is nothing but a done job. Because it teaches you that negativity is just washing itself away, just drying up like a desert. You are the water, you are the refreshing replenishment of energy through your flesh of truth. You are fucking here, light shining. Have a good sleep tonight. Tomorrow is a new day, a new beginning. It's a new day, it's a new life, okay? It's with your flesh and every cell replenishing itself, new skin, as I've said before, hair growing. You only can live one life. True Kung Fu is talking about true martial arts. I believe all true martial arts can only be called a martial art with that essence of Kung Fu in them, which is there, even if you're not doing Kung Fu, let's say. It's like, there's a guy wearing a pair of shoes. Oh, these are good shoes. Is it Puma or Adidas or Nike? It's like, oh no, it's none of them, you know. And it actually is. They just don't have the sign on it. You just didn't know it. They didn't have the symbol, the little logo, you know. So would it matter? You know what I mean? As long as you fucking, it does the job, right? I'm not trying to tell you Kung Fu is the word. It's as a title. I'm just trying to say the meaning of what it's all about. Don't focus on simplest. You know what I mean? Things are done for the right job. I feel Kung Fu is like an overall, full toolkit with all the different tools of life that you need. Because it's teaching you to be in tune, in a physical, in what you're doing in your life, with the emotion. So you don't waste it being afraid or trying to put on a confident act. You don't do it, you are just the truth of what it is, and there's nothing wrong with you. Just as the next human being. Life's beautiful. And you're great, but you're not great enough. If you don't practice, it's teaching you to practice your value life, so you want to do more. And you do more, and then you can feel the more value. It teaches you more powerful within yourself. And never needing to compare, and never being broken down, never looking for a fight, never being crushed by a challenge as such. You see what I'm saying? It's teaching you to be on all levels able to adjust and adapt and flow like water, and learn about your mistakes and who you are from exactly what you're doing, because you see everything around you more for exactly what it is, and don't try and paint it like this. You're fucking wrong. This guy is God, so if this guy's an asshole and you know nothing, man. No, you see it all for what it is, and you say, I'm going to do the best I can and work with what I've got here. You know what I mean? And it's like an empty toolkit. But you say, I've got everything I need here. You know what I mean? You start to be able to work more and be able to do more with less. You're doing nothing as such, and you're getting more done. Because you've done both sides of yin yang, and you've put more hard work in already. And the truth, then you find that there's no negative force in front of you. It's not like to say you work all day and do nothing, you're grappling in a cage fight, you're beating people down, or you're running for money and you're looking at your clock your whole fucking life, until, oh shit, you're dead and the battery's still ticking. Motherfucker, excuse my language. Cut here, yeah. Respect. Thank you very much, Dennis. You train on stage, so protect yourself and your loved ones. All martial arts are good. All beliefs, all positiveness in life is good. Even if what you think of, what I'm thinking here is totally different to what you think, and you love MMA or whatever is out there, or whatever belief in anything, just there's positivity, negativity, destructiveness, constructiveness. You are you, you're not somebody else isn't you either. Learn what you will, what you want to as part of your nature, and feel the whole balance of everything. Until you can start feeling your whole balance of your body and your mind and what you're doing. And feel it honestly, the same way as knowing that there's other people out there who are also sometimes imbalanced in what they do, and accept that. We're all learning. If you start focusing on that more, and feeling more honestly, at least you're doing more of a positive thing than some negative people, and that is the very essence of Kung Fu. From my bit of advice is, if you do study some Kung Fu systems out there, if you're able to find some knowledge of Kung Fu or just learn, practice, and practice more than that few minutes you might be with a teacher or whatever. I mean, practice that and study what you are doing as a human being through the art and whatever art you're doing, whatever martial arts do. Even if it's not Kung Fu, but I'm saying, you will start to feel the essence more, and practicing yourself is Kung Fu. Be positive, live positive, that's Kung Fu. Life's beautiful. Thank you for watching. It's Wilshire Richard. See you again next time, and love your life. Don't fucking kill yourself for a motherfucker, Don't give up, don't go around looking for trouble, and that's it, okay? You're not wrong if you have peace within you and all you want is, peace. You want to avoid that negative shit, or you want to make friends with someone, or communication. You honestly have questions in your mind. Questions are better than answers, right? You're looking for beauty in life, you're looking for more goodness. That's it. Train on and stay safe. Martial arts for life, yeah?